Hello there. The next Lib Lab Con uniparty government is set to crush us all. Do not believe the political hype. Whether it be Tories, Labour, Lib Dem or whatever, the mainstream parties are all singing from the same WEF and UN-inspired hymn sheet. You do not matter to them, but your votes do. Now some pundits are saying that the Tory party has become the party of Nigel Farage. Well, it stopped being that 3 decades ago when Farage walked away from them. And commentators on the left look very worried to me, as they stamp about claiming the Tories are lurching to the populist right. They are coming to realise that the Labour landslide they assumed was their God-given right might not be as assured as it was thought of a couple of months ago. But at the end of the day, that won't make any difference to most of us. Same clowns, different rosettes. But they are also wrapping the UK internet up in anti-free speech red tape, while taming the GB News outlier that one of their former presenters, Calvin Robinson, has now branded as controlled opposition. Anyway, the problem the left have is that the people of the UK and of the European Union, and probably the US too, have had a bellyful of having lefty ideology shoved down their throats at every turn. Yes, I know we've had a Conservative government in the UK for over a decade, but those administrations under various prime ministers were con-socialist. Tax, borrow, spend and boss the citizenry about. Or we wouldn't be in the hideous financial and social position we're in today. And the Tories seem, and I say seem, to have woken up to this and started to act more conservative. Act being the operative word. With small adjustments to the net zero programme, cutting off HS2 at the knees, and Rishi saying that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. But then stepping in with the nanny state to stop today's children ever legally taking up smoking. Just another substance to add to the massive illegal UK drugs trade, no doubt. Anyway, the lefties are beginning to realise that the European Union citizenry are also gradually moving to the right. And opinion in the UK is also, in my humble opinion, doing likewise. The only problem for the Tories is that they have made themselves just about unelectable by being woke, left of centre and eco-zealots to boot. The silent majority are fed up to the back teeth of being lectured daily and hourly on minority rights. We are sick to death of people who claim to be more aware of what's going on than the rest of us and continually shouting at us through their political megaphones or imposing their slow walks on us as we try to use the roads we've paid for while going about our lawful business. These types claim to be more aware about everything. That's why they call themselves woke. And now, by their own actions, they've turned woke into an insult because of their constant hectoring, whether it be net zero, open borders or insisting on the correct pronouns. And Just Stop Oil probably thought they'd be fated by lefty lovies who were anticipating a pleasant evening at the Sondheim Theatre playing at Les Mis last night. But after locking themselves to the stage, Just Stop Oil were booed as people were forced to abandon their expensive evening. And ordinary people of the majority ethnicity are now getting positively annoyed at being told they have some sort of imaginary privilege and being ordered to continually apologise for it, and that they must have obtained any wealth they have managed to cobble together through their ancestors enslaving the globe or some other such nonsense. And parents who know what their kids are being taught in school will be getting very worried about their futures. And ordinary, long-suffering commuters do not like being restricted in how and when they can travel, while having overly zealous limits placed on how fast they can get to their destinations. They can also recognise blatant attempts by officials to impose unneeded taxes on us. I'm looking at you, Sadiq Khan. If they are so concerned about the environment being poisoned, then ban the offending vehicles, because imposing taxes on people do not make the fumes disappear, do they? All it does is further impoverish people who can't afford to keep up with the latest net zero fad. But all this has been imposed on us by Labour governments, a Lib Dem Tory coalition and the Tories themselves. They are all the ones that stuffed the House of Lords with people who think they know better than us. They are the ones that imposed ever more onerous net zero laws and also stood back and let the pronoun brigade run riot through our institutions and workplaces. And no pronouncements at the Tory party conference will ever lead me to think that they have really reformed themselves. And that was what this conference was all about, trying to convince us that they've somehow shed themselves of net zero and woke. But they have not. The people of the UK, the EU and the US might be moving to the right in their thinking, but however they vote, the government will always win. In the EU you have an unelected commission. And talk in Germany, for example, of banning the right-of-centre AfD party and cracking down on member states who do not comply. In the US, Trump is a major threat, so massive efforts are being made to ditch him with a prolonged set of lawfare cases. And in the UK, in a far more subtle manner, we have a choice of one party, because of our now totally unified uniparty state. The Labour-Tory two-party state is now a scam. Rishi has said a lot, but will he legislate to make it happen? And how much of it would get through the Lords unscathed or even blocked before the next general election? The people of the UK will not get what they want, but they will get the government they vote for. Think on that one. Because governments no longer need to do what we want. And they write their manifestos very cleverly, knowing hardly anyone reads them anyway. The Tories are fighting for the growing number of disenchanted voters. But after the election, it will be back to the new normal, with civil serpents running the show. Richard.
It appears as if there is an infestation of twisted ball sacks at GB News. Now, of course, Neil Oliver and a couple of others, Nana Aquia, I still like, and a few others, they're still there. But in general, I will not be watching it. By getting rid of Lawrence Fox and Calvin Robinson, what have you done, GB News? For goodness sake, they're the only reason people came to your channel. It used to be for Mark Stein. The only one that's left, really, as I said, is Neil Oliver and Nana Aquia. That's it. What other reason do we, the people, the thinking people of this country, have to return to your channel, to GB News? There isn't any. And I find it strange that a lot of people are saying, oh my goodness, we no longer live in a free and democratic society. What, only now the penny has dropped? We never have. It's always been controlled in some way. But yes, I get it. The GB News sold itself as a champion and a bastion and the one safe space for free speech. But clearly it isn't. There we go. It's over. That channel's done as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure Talk TV will mop up part of what's left over when it does finally collapse, but when GB News does finally collapse, but no, I can't see any way forward at all. I mean, will you be watching GB News from now on? Which presenters? I mean, it's just full of sitting or previous Tory. As Calvin Robinson said, he recently tweeted, GB News is controlled opposition. And I'm sorry to say, I think he may be right. I mean, we've got... Some of you love Nigel Farage. I've got mixed feelings on him. But right now, he's cozying up way too close to the Tories for my liking. I mean, for goodness sake, I mean, what does Richard Tice think of this? Is this some kind of... Are we going to see reform and the Tories pulling together into one party? I can't imagine that happening. Nobody would support that from the reform side. Very, very strange days we're living in. Anyway, yes, that's the end of GB News as far as I'm concerned. I will watch Neil Oliver whilst he is still there, but I don't think he'll be there for much longer. No. How sad. We have no television station to watch anymore. Oh, well, YouTube and Rumble it is. Take care, you lot. And yes, I am back after a bout of ill health. I'm not fully recovered, but I will be doing a regular Sunday show starting next week, not this weekend. Next week on the Jeff Taylor channel, and Jeff and I will be filming together and getting up to lots of mischief and annoying the daylights out of the lot of you. Anyway, you lot take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.